Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Scott Stevenson. I am a DP and gaffer here in Los Angeles, and a lot of the work that I do is involving interviews and podcasts and multicam shoots and sometimes even narrative. We use multicam stuff, but especially podcasts. And what I'm talking about today is Autopod. Autopod is basically an AI software that allows you to go through and sync up all of your cameras and your audio sources kind of automatically, and the AI just goes through and chops it up. And for the longest time, it's been only available on Premiere, and I'm super excited because now it's available on Davinci Resolve. I'm a big Davinci Resolve user, and yeah, I'm excited to jump in and show you guys what it's all about. So we can go over to autopod.fm is where you'll find it over here on the website, autopod.fm. You can do a free trial. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to put in my card information. Okay, so you go through and you just fill out everything here. All right, so you just take a minute, put in your card information. As you can see, they're doing a 30-day trial. So we're going to go ahead and sign up for that. After the 30-day trial, it's $29 a month. If you're doing a lot of podcasts and a lot of projects, the hours that you will save, I think $29 is nothing. If you're going to pay an editor to sit there for a couple hours and edit, think about just one video. You're paying an editor $29 an hour to do that. It's going to save you so much time. Pop over into your email. Here's our Autopod receipt. Thank you for your order. First payment, $29, trial free. We're going to go ahead and download Autopod. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the Autopod Mac installer and go ahead and download that. You're going to go through and just follow all the instructions here that it's telling you. You're going to put in your password and just let it do its thing. Installation was successful. Awesome. And we can go ahead and move that to the trash. And here it is. Autopod shows up right on our desktop. Cool. So make sure when you're going to the site that you go to Autopod For Davinci Resolve, which is now in the beta, and you're going to get the Mac version of that. Allow. So it's going to ask you, do you need a new key? No, your original key was downloaded. It will work. If you haven't ever purchased Autopod, you can purchase it through your regular portal. Cool. So does this work on both the free and the studio versions of Davinci Resolve? Yes, it works on both free and studio versions. It's installed. So I'm going to jump over into this podcast project that we have going on here. So this is a long form podcast. I got a couple different episodes. I'm going to jump into get our media. I'm going to duplicate this timeline just as an example. So this is an edit that I already did, and it took me quite some time to do all of this editing actually. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to clear this timeline out. Let's just start fresh here. So what I'll do is I'll come into episode 2, and I know that this camera, so I have one camera, I'm going to lay it onto this right here. And then I also have everything from B camera is going to be labeled blue. And oops. So I went through here and I already labeled all my stuff because this is a podcast that we've already been working on. So I know that everything in pink is A cam. I know that everything in blue is already our B cam. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw B cam onto number 2. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to grab all the clips from C cam, which are going to be green. And I'm going to drag those over and drop them into the timeline here. And then you can see that the audio is also moving along with it, and you can see it's all color coded. So my A cam is all pink, my B cam is blue, and our C cam is this greenish and yellow color. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna change our tracks to C cam. We're gonna call this B. And we're gonna call this A. And still V1, V2, and V3. And then here on the bottom, we can see whose audio is whose. Then we're going to go through and we're going to need to bring in our audio that we recorded with our pod mics. So our audio is going to be under sound, episode 2. So I can see that this is my mic and this is Jordan's mic. And Jordan's my co-host. So we'll make some room. And we'll just throw my microphone down here and his microphone down here. And those should line up pretty well. What we want to do now, once we have all of our sources in, is we need to sync this. What I did to make this a little easier is I went through already and I put a marker where that slate is. So you can go ahead and line all of them up based off of that marker. We know that that is where our slate closes on all 3 angles. So it's a bit more tedious to kind of go through and sync stuff up when there is no scratch audio. So highly recommend recording scratch audio for your podcasts. It's going to make your life a lot easier. You won't have to go through and find the marker and do a visual slate like I'm doing right now. Just for this example, I went ahead and I just cut this down a little bit to make it a bit shorter. And then I'm going to bring it back to the front of the clip here. So now I have about a 3-minute clip. And I'm just going to show you kind of how this works. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to remove the audio from. I'm going to go ahead and unlink these clips just by right clicking, and then I'm going to remove the audio and then delete those out of there. And then I'm going to bring my podcast audio all the way up to the top, and then I'm going to remove audio tracks that are not being used. So we're going to delete these empty tracks, and let's just make things a little larger. So the way I have my shortcuts are set up, I'm just holding shift and then rolling up on my mouse to adjust the track height. And then I also have holding alt and rolling up and down on my mouse to zoom in and out. Just kind of a handy way to navigate. So now I have a 3-minute timeline with camera A, camera B, and camera C. Everything synced up. And here's my audio tracks. And I have Jordan on number 1, and I have myself on number 2. SS, that's me. And I can see actually that they are opposite. So I'm just going to change them like that. Nice and clean. So once we have this all set up like this, we're going to go up to Workspace. We're going to come down to Scripts. And what we're going to do is Autopod Multicam Editor. We're going to enable that. When we get this pop-up window that comes in, it's going to ask us for our email and our key. So we'll go ahead and enter that. Okay, perfect. So once you put in your login, which will be in your email, you'll have your own email and you'll have your little login key, and that'll allow this scripts to end up coming in. So if you open up Davinci Resolve and you see that the Autopod is not showing up, maybe you just haven't linked it with your key yet. And what we're going to do, so we're going to do cutting method. We're going to go enable, disable. Our wide shot frequency, we want to use pretty high because we like that wide shot. We want to see it as as often as possible. We don't want to just be on close-ups the whole time. What we're going to do is have that on high. We're going to say, 2 speakers. We have 2 speakers, and we have 3 camera angles. And delay the cuts. We'll have to experiment with that. We'll do 0.2. Ignore cuts less than, I'll say, a 1.5 seconds. That sounds good. So speakers on our audio track is JM, and then on audio track number 2 is SS, myself, and then we're going to say who is on video track, who is on the different video track. So we're going to assign JM, and because I put it in there, it automatically knows who you're working with now, which is kind of cool. So I can see on my V1 track, that's actually going to be all speakers, which is great. And then on V2, that's JM, and then on V3 up at the top, it's going to be myself, SS, Scott Stevenson. So we're all set to go. We're going to go ahead and click this Create Multicam Edit and let it do its thing. And it's jumping around through the timeline. This is real time. I'm not going to speed this up. I want to see how long it takes to cut together a 3-minute multicam clip. This whole entire video is probably 20-30 minutes long, but I just wanted to experiment with a clip. So that was very fast. That was less than 10 seconds. And it says it's successfully completed. I'm going to go ahead and just close this dialog box. And so these other clips that it didn't end up using are actually just, they're here. They're just disabled, which is really nice. Let's check it out. So it's doing a pretty good job. So what's cool is if I want to go through and I want to edit this, I can come in here, I can cut this, and then I can, enable the clip. And then I can go and I can see that now I'm going from the wide back to the close up. So that's good. When it goes onto my waveform, then it goes to my camera angle. That's doing really well. So that's really cool. That's something that I'm definitely going to be using. So now once this whole thing is cut, what you can do is you can come through and we're going to make sure that our camera angles are completely filling the frame. So we're just going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit and change our framing. We're going to do the same thing for our B cam. We're going to go ahead and just punch in a little bit because we're in that 2:1 aspect ratio just to fill the frame a little bit. And then our wide, we'll come in and we'll see the wide. And we have a couple of little lights and stuff like that up at the top of the frame. So we're just going to zoom in a little bit to kind of get those out of there and kind of, position and move how we should, just to make things look really nice in our wide shot. And let's see how our other ones are looking. And then probably now that everything's sounding good, we can go through and start working on our audio tracks. It sounds pretty good. We do a pretty good job making sure that our mics are sounding good before we start, but you can go through and you can bring it into Fairlight and you can apply some EQ, and that'll be in a whole nother video of how I EQ podcasts. If you guys are interested in checking out how I EQ podcasts, I can go into detail with that. And then color, we can do something simple. I've already come through and made a few different looks. And then here's other past podcasts that I have already kind of created a look for, so I can go ahead and I can apply that grade. But this isn't a coloring tutorial. I'm not going to go into detail about that. Pretty much we're adding saturation, we're adding contrast, we're fixing skin tones, we're doing stuff like that. Real simple stuff. Contrast, saturation, maybe I'll put a LUT. I don't want to go into too much detail. This video is actually just about the Autopod feature and how much time that's going to save you, because literally that took 10 seconds to get through. I don't know how long that would have taken me, probably several minutes to listen through the whole thing. And if it's a 20-minute long video, I can, only a couple of minutes, I can walk away, go make a coffee, and come back and have a full edit. And I can go through and I can adjust and watch it over and see if there's any changes. But that's a super, time-saving tool, and I'm super excited about it. They're saying, oh, it's a beta and there might be some bugs, but I really don't see, any issues with it right now. I'm going to keep testing it. But for my podcasts and the podcasts that we do here at Rate and Reviews, I think it would be a fantastic tool just to save me time, because it was, the biggest thing was, just getting that first line cut once you sync everything and then getting that line cut. And now, if you have good audio, good waveforms, and good scratch tracks, you should be able to sync pretty well and just use that auto align waveform. Or if you are using a slate, just line it up with a marker and then get your slate all set up. Once everything's ready to go, then just run that script on there. You can go in, once again, just to remind you guys, it's up here in workspace. You're going to go to scripts, and then it's multicam editor. You can also do social clip creator, jump cut editor, which is super cool. Okay, so overall, I think that this did a fantastic job. It's something I'm super excited about, and I'm going to be using in my upcoming podcasts. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Definitely recommend going and checking it out, and go over to autopod.fm and search for the Davinci Resolve version of this, which is in beta right now, and go ahead and download it and check it out. To do the free trial, and even if you end up paying for it, $29 to save so much time editing is really amazing. So I highly recommend this. Once again, guys, I'm Scott Stevenson. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my past videos as well as subscribe to see my future ones. Peace.